Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? How do you like this? Look at 25,000 dinar down to 25. You like that? Anyways, so there's a lot of good news coming out of Iraq, but I do want to come back to a couple of videos and respond to your comments real quick, especially one I have to clarify. Anyways, let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Alright, so I was going through videos looking at comments, and I see my friend InfoSecret is back. I appreciate him being here. Anyways, you bring something to my attention. So when we're talking about the deletion of the zeros, it comes off the banknote. The banknote only. That's what I said. It isn't going to change the exchange rate. The exchange rate is going to be equal in value. That's what I kept saying. I said you got people out there saying that deleting the zeros does not mean the currency. It only means the exchange rate. And I was saying, no, that's not accurate. But I should clarify something so that we're all on the same page. Because InfoSecret brought it to my attention. He says, Pimpy, are you sure you want to ride with that statement that the redenomination means deleting the zeros off the notes only? Before answering that, you might want to check your math. And I was like, it is. It only means off the notes only. But I get the point he's trying to make. So let's go ahead and do this. So currently right now, we have 25,000 dinar notes. And the rate is 3076. So if you take the 25,000 notes times the 0.0076, you get $19. Okay? So when they do the deletion of the zeros, yes, it's going to come off here. But the point I was trying to make was, it doesn't change the exchange rate, was the point I was trying to make. I should have been more clear. I said it doesn't change the exchange rate. The 25,000 dinar has the same value as a 25 dinar. Because people kept saying when they delete the 3 zeros, they're just taking it off here and not the note. And I was saying, no, that's wrong. In my bid to try to explain it, I didn't explain it all the way. So, like I said, a 25,000 dinar times the 0.00076 gives you $19. So when we delete the zeros, yes, it is going to take it off here. You see, 25 times 0.76. See, it's the same exchange rate. What I was trying to say is the exchange rate doesn't change. It stays the same. And that people were saying, no, we keep the same banknotes, but we delete the zeros. I was like, that's not what it is. I appreciate InfoSecret bringing this to my attention because it definitely needs cleared up. So again, when we delete the zeros off the banknotes from 25,000 dinar down to 25, yes, it's not only off the banknotes, it's off this exchange rate right here. But that's not increasing the exchange rate against other currencies. Like I said, they're the same. A 25,000 dinar is going to have the same value as a 25 dinar, was the point I was trying to make. And then people out there saying, no, we still keep our 3-0 banknotes, but the 3 zeros come off here. That's wrong. So look, the 25,000 dinar times the current rate gives you $19. Once you delete the zeros, the 25 dinar, see, it's the same exchange rate. Nothing changes. So my apologies. I should have been more clear about that. So thank you, InfoSecret, for pointing that out. Here we go. Yeah, I posted this video the night before. I said it was 3-1, was actually 229. I forgot about leap year. So anyway, somebody sent me this article. We get this at least once every 6 months or once a year. Is the Iraqi dinar a good investment? I went through the article to point some things out about it. They always say the Iraqi dinar investment is a scam when it's not a scam. It is a legitimate currency. You can exchange it. You can use it. They want to know if this is a good investment. But you notice in the article, the things that they're listing out, Iraq is in the process of doing or have already finished. If that's the reason for not investing in the dinar or trying to decide whether or not the dinar is a good investment, if those things are being accomplished or have already been accomplished, does that make it now a good investment? Yes. Somebody said, oh, you posted it's negative. I go, no, it's not negative. If you pay attention to the video, I'm pointing these things out. That these things that they're saying need to be required is already being done. Grain of salt, thanks, good stuff. Thank you. Thankful for your truth. I appreciate you tuning in. Someone said they're sitting on a sea of gold and oil. We will see. Yeah, I can tell you for sure there are oil in some of these fields that have not been announced yet. I know they announced one of them. As far as gold is concerned, I know about that a whole bunch. Iraq actually has a ton of gold. They need to hire some big mining company to come out and pick it up. But it's going to be real inexpensive because it's sitting right on the surface. Don't get me wrong, they export gold now, but they could be doing it on a much larger scale. Admiral says, and yet every article like this one is based solely on the author's experience and knowledge. Yeah, I'll agree with that. That doesn't mean we have to agree with them all the time. So basically the article just laid out all this shit they're already done. Yeah, there you go right there. That's pretty much it. Thank you, Pimpy. It's all BS until the rate comes out. Yeah, absolutely. Look, right now it's just speculation. All anybody's doing is guessing. There is no insider. There is no special connection. All that's just BS. Some people are able to make a much more educated guess than others. Pimpy, keep this information for yourself because you have enough Iraq dinars. Why would I want to keep this to myself? Why wouldn't I want to share it? USA has currencies that are large. Depends on what you mean large. I mean, they used to have much larger bills, 500,000, 10,000, 100,000. Altcoin says, do you believe that Saddam was taken out because of his monetary policies? I do believe so. I wouldn't say because of the monetary policies that he had. The reason why he got whacked along with Gaddafi was the two of them were going to make a gold-backed dinar, and they wanted people to purchase the oil in the gold-backed dinar and not the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. ain't having that. So, that's their cash cow. If you get away from using them as a reserve dollar or as the petrodollar, you knew they were going to get whacked. It won't lop. Again, the banksters of the world won't let that happen. And the banksters of the world, I don't think they care too much whether it does or doesn't, to be honest with you. Hi, thanks for information. I have a question. Do you invest in Iraqi dinar? You must be new to the channel. Yes, I do. I'm invested in the Iraqi dinar as well as the stock exchange over there in Iraq. Thomas has got me worried over here, Pimpy. Every pumps is up with hopium, bank stories. I've checked with banks and I'm told it's a scam and laughed at. Maxed out my credit cards like a fool past 8 months with dreams. In my opinion, why would they let anyone benefit from this? All right, a couple of things, Thomas. You're not the only one that's done that. They listen to these other people talk about the Iraqi dinar, claiming it's going to happen next week, it's going to happen this day, and on that time, and it doesn't happen. So people actually start spending the money before they get it. They get a little crazy with their bills. I know somebody took out a second mortgage on their house to buy more dinar because they believed these other content creators, he believed it was going to happen in 2 weeks, and that was a couple of years ago. So you just got to be very careful about who you're listening to. I always say this, wait till the money's in your account. Until you see those dollars in your bank balance, I wouldn't be spending my money before I get it. And would you say, in my opinion, why would they let anyone benefit from this? Why wouldn't they? First of all, it's the Iraqi people that really need to benefit from this more than anybody else. It's not their fault that their leaders are all wackadoodles and keep them in constant conflict. But the Iraqi people shouldn't have to suffer. There's enough resources in Iraq where they should be living pretty dang good over there. So increasing the exchange rate and giving them more purchasing power would definitely change their quality of life. And they deserve it. So once Iraq can get their crap together and it looks like they're there, no more sanctions, get into the World Trade Organization, get back on the SWIFT system, get back on the Forex, finish with the Port of Fa, finish with the Development Road Project. All those things are going to bring a lot of money into Iraq, and their currency is only going to get stronger. They're doing the right things. It's just taking much longer than these people saying they pulled a wand out of their butt, sprinkling unicorn pixie dust all over the place, all right? So hang tight, Thomas, and don't do that with your credit cards no more. It's anyone's guess what will happen. Yeah, pretty much, but like I said, some people have a more educated guess than others. Did USA have currency that are 10,000, 100,000, and 1,000 notes? They're still good, even though we don't use them. Yeah, so the United States actually had a $500, $1,000, $10,000, and $100,000 bill. I showed you guys in one of my videos what the $100,000 bill looked like. But those were for intergovernment use only. It wasn't meant for the public to get their hands on them, although the public did have their hands on some of these banknotes. But if you have any of those notes now, yeah, they're collector's items. There's no way in hell I would turn them in. FYI, it's leap year, February 29th. Yeah, I got that. It's the witching hour. Yep. Pimpy, can you do a video on the South African Rand? Yeah, I'll do that one, but I can't promise you I'm going to make a video comparing the other values of the Middle East countries against the Iraqi dinar. Somebody's wanting to know why there's a difference in value, so I'll go ahead and do a video on that. The USA has a $100,000 currency note. If you had that currency, you could exchange it for smaller denominations, and that's the same thing that's going to happen in Iraq, in my opinion. Yeah, pretty much that's what's going to happen. They'll remove the higher denomination notes for the lower denomination notes. People need to realize that the 25,000 dinar notes aren't going to be voided out instantly in Iraq. The CBI stated both the 3-0 notes and the lower notes will coexist for 10 years. So as an outsider investors, when Iraq is finally internally trading currencies worldwide, our 25,000 dinar note will still be a 25,000 dinar note when exchange it, not 25. Nope, that's wrong. I just showed you that the 25 dinar note is going to have the same value as a 25,000 dinar note. I don't think it's going to take them 10 years, like I said before. When Iraq moved from the Saddam Hussein dinars and the Swiss dinars to the currencies that we have now, it only took them 6 months. 10 years is a long time. Maybe they do that, maybe they don't. For sure, what you're going to see happen is the 25,000 dinar and the 25 dinar are going to have the same value. So if the exchange rate changes, I hope you ain't thinking, aha, I don't have the 25 dinar, I'm going to get much more money. Nope, they're going to be treated exactly the same. I see this is how you make your living after all this time. After all this time, you just barely figured this out. I said it at least a million times. You have been posting, now you would screenshot this and say, is the dinar a good investment? I'm not sure what you're asking there, but that was just an article that was sent to me. I'm just responding to it. Says who? Says me. Oh, here's InfoSecret again. Again, there's no way in how the IQD will revalue to anything remotely close to a 1-to-1. Impossible. Not even 1 cent, period. The article is pretty much spot on. However, besides the fact that Saddam was pricing the IQD artificially back in the 1990s, the biggest hurdle that makes this RV notion mathematically impossible is the money supply, currently sitting at 160 trillion IQD. During the 80s, Iraq had roughly 12 billion IQD circulating. Billion, I said, not trillion. So you folks are telling me that they can print over 150 trillion dinars with zero impact on the currency in the 30 years? Seriously? Well, a couple of things. In the 80s, they didn't use the inflated currency that they do now. If they did, this wouldn't be 12 billion, it'd be 12 trillion. So if you take the zeros off the 160 is not right. Central Bank of Iraq, money sector, currency. Let's see the currencies issued by the CBI. So where is Iraq sitting right now? At about 102 trillion. But it says currency issued by the CBI. This is the amount of currency they have printed. Currency production and circulation. The CBI is responsible for managing the country's currency, including the production and distribution of new banknotes. The bank regularly prints new banknotes to replace those that are worn out or damaged beyond redemption. The CBI has not released any official statistics regarding the number of banknotes that are destroyed due to wear and tear annually. However, the bank reportedly destroyed around 17 billion banknotes between 2014 and 18, although the figure includes both damaged and counterfeit notes. So InfoSecret, what you got to take into consideration is, first of all, like I said, you're saying during the 80s, there's only 12 billion. But that's not what the inflated currency that they have now, or else that would be 12 trillion, not 12 billion. If they do the deletion of the zeros, that 102 trillion is going to become 102 billion. In addition to that, that's money that was put into circulation. That doesn't tell you the exact amount of money that actually exists. You got to think about all the money that's been damaged, destroyed, that has not been turned into the Iraqi bank. You got to remember that ISIS came and stole a bunch of it and lit it on fire. God knows how much was in the fire that they burnt. Also, there was a huge flood in Iraq, and so bad that the mud got into the banks and destroyed a ton of IQD. In addition to that, there's an article from 2008. It says the bank spends $1 billion to $1.5 billion every month in oil revenues to buy Iraqi dinars on the open market. And the other article that I read said that they had removed 70% of the currency that was in circulation back in 2008. So how much is actually there? Because that number only tells you how much they put into circulation. It doesn't tell you exactly how much is in circulation, which is a big difference. But I understand the point you're trying to make. The other thing you have to take in consideration is when they change the exchange rate, remember, we're not going to be personally going straight to Iraq to swap our currency. What's going to happen is each person in their own country is going to go to their own bank. So if we go to our banks here in America, we take our dinars into the bank. Now, if they deal in foreign currencies, then they'll keep it as a foreign currency asset on their book. If they send it back to the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve will keep the Iraqi dinar as a foreign asset reserve on their books. So Iraq doesn't have to come up with $101 trillion to swap for 101 trillion dinars, okay? We swap with our banks. Each person will in each one of their countries. Then their central banks will deal with Iraq directly. Whether they want to send it all at one time or whether they just do a little at a time, it really just depends. I'm sure what they'll most likely do is keep it on their foreign currency reserves. So the amount of money that Iraq has doesn't have to be as high as most people think. Gold is a scam. How is gold a scam? I've been saying this for more than 6 years. There's no way the currency is going to revalue at $3. That would be almost a 4,000% increase in the value on the currency. That has never happened in history. Yeah, I brought this up before. I said, it's not going to go up to $3. That's a 4,000 increase in value. But then somebody said, well, then they decreased it by 4,000 when they dropped the value down. Why couldn't they increase it? Yeah, look, anything is possible, but let's just be realistic. I still believe the Iraqi dinar is going to go up in increments, okay? There is a lot of good news coming out of Iraq. There's reason to be excited and hopeful. But something like this would be a huge impact against the current economy. They're not ready for that, nor are they prepared to deal with something like that. Yeah, having 148 trillion in their foreign asset reserve is a good thing. They will go up in increments. I know people are tired of hearing this. Oh, it's going to happen pretty soon. No, I'm saying it's going to happen over time. That's just my opinion. Would I love for them to jump up with the huge exchange rate? Yeah, I would love that. Is it going to happen? Most likely not, but anything is possible. So yeah, both you and InfoSecret, look, you guys make great points. You do. But if we're going to go down those paths, we have to take everything in consideration. Everything. How much money was destroyed? Do we know how much money is actually in circulation? How much is in Iraq? How much is in other countries? You got to take in consideration that we don't deal directly with Iraq. We deal with our banks, and then it's up to our central bank whether or not they're going to deal with Iraq. They might swap the Iraqi dinars for oil. Therefore, Iraq won't have to give up dollars. Who knows, whatever agreement they can come up with. Anyways, you guys, look, stay positive, all right? Understand, do the PP dance. There's nothing wrong with being excited. Just don't, go out there and spend the money, Thomas, before you get it, all right? Make sure it's in your bank account. Anyways, that's it for now. I just wanted to come through and respond to you. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you later. I'm out.